Okay, I'm gonna start with the Instagram questions. By the way, I really appreciate anyone who actually replies to my question boxes, because a lot of the ones who do reply, I don't know you personally, and I recognize names of people who are always interacting with me and trying to engage with me, and I really appreciate it. It's just funny how strangers are more loving sometimes than people you actually know. Anyway, so first question is, how has your journey been? Oh, that's such a big loaded question. My journey through motherhood has been fantastic, incredible, exhausting, tiring. It's been tough, especially if you don't have, you don't have a big family, you don't come from a big family, and you don't like trust people to help you and like step in, and do you know what I mean? Then it's obviously going to be trickier. Like, there's a whole village, people say, to help a baby, but I don't really necessarily have a village at all. And so, like, my side of the family, they're all full-time workers, like I was. We came from a household of just full-time workers, adults. And even during the day, like, I was pretty much alone the whole time, so yeah, it was tough. But it has been the best year of my life, alhamdulillah. Like, I get to watch the human that Allah obviously has created, but that I brought into this world, who is my flesh and blood, just grow to be such a beautiful, beautiful, loving, giving child, baby girl, toddler girl. Alhamdulillah, it's been beautiful. It is one of the hardest, toughest, but most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. It is the best experience I've ever had. But yeah, it's starting to get easier now because we're in routines. Like, we have our routines now. We've had our routines from earlier on, but because she's a bit older now, we can do more, she can do more. But at the same time, because she was born in the winter, this is one thing I actually say is really difficult. If you have a baby who was born in the autumn winter, where the days are shorter and it gets dark really early, it is really hard for me personally. So before, like, I've heard of seasonal depression, right? I'm not saying I have that, but I used to love the winters, especially when I was working. I'd get on the bus, all the lights would be on outside, it would be dark outside, but I'd get on the bus, go home, get into bed sort of thing. It's fresh, it's cozy, and put on a TV show or have some dinner. Since becoming a mum, I really don't enjoy winter at all. Like, it is so hard to get out, especially when she was a newborn, because she was born when the clocks had changed and it was darker for I don't know whether they go back or forward. The clocks went back. And she was born around that time, the clocks went back, so it was really hard to just get out. As soon as I would start to get myself ready and get her ready, obviously change 5 nappies between the time that we were trying to leave and actually going out, like, there's just, it's mayhem really. There's so much stuff that we have to take just to make sure that, oh, if she poos, we need to go and change her nappy. If, you know, she sticks up, we need to clean her, all of that sort of stuff. By the time all of that's done, you've only got half an hour of sunlight outside. It's really challenging, really hard. And so a lot of winter, like now really, I don't go out. Now it's different though, because she is a toddler, and I do have that guilt when I don't take her out. But when the weather's not good, I'm not going to take her out. And so I do have that guilt of, oh, there's too much screen time happening, oh, you know, I've got stuff to do, she's bored out of her brain. I understand that toddlers are, and babies are, like, they're allowed to be bored, but I have a lot of mum guilt when it comes to these colder seasons and going out with her. It actually makes me really upset because she deserves to go out and she loves going out. And like, even now I'm filming this while she's gone to Jummah with my husband. She's just learning new things. Like, this is her first time at a mosque. Like, I haven't taken her to a mosque. Obviously, you know, you guys would know if you've watched my vlog that we've moved to a new area. I haven't even been to the local mosque yet. My husband has. My husband's the one who's like scoping everything out. But in a nutshell, my journey has been like highs all the way up and then lows, especially in the first few months. I definitely had some sort of baby blue situation going on because of these short days. It just feels like the days are repeating over and over again. During those first few months, my daughter and I kept getting ill. My daughter actually had COVID when she was not even 2 months old, and so yeah, we were ill a lot, and so obviously we didn't go out because of that. Alhamdulillah, she's all right, she's perfectly fine. Fun fact, actually, March 2020 when COVID happened, I had COVID right like during that week that they had announced the lockdown. Just before they had announced the lockdown, I had COVID. And from having COVID, I'd lost my sense of taste and smell. Sense of taste came back, my sense of smell was completely gone for a year, until I found out I was pregnant in March 2021 with my daughter. and so that whole year I couldn't smell anything. And like, by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, it makes me cry because my daughter has brought so much into my life. Oh my god. My daughter has brought so much barakah into my life, and one of those things is that I had the ability to smell again. I don't know how it works, I don't know what happens with the nerves or the hormones or what causes this smell to come and go, but subhanallah, through falling pregnant with my daughter, my sense of smell came back strong, alhamdulillah. And obviously because I had no smell for about a year, I'm like hit with all of these new smells. Not even new smells, just stronger smells. Yeah, that did not help the nausea. That did not help the nausea one bit. And my food aversions, I was just, it was awful, but I'd much rather be able to smell than not. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, just thought I'd put that in there because I was talking about how our journey was in COVID and stuff. Unless you're like dedicated to going out and you have the energy to, and you're recovering fine and stuff like that, I would definitely say that having a baby in the winter months is hard. Anyway, my next question is, how was your mental health? I think I've kind of briefly covered that in the first question, but my mental health, I think my daughter is the one, and you shouldn't do this, I know you shouldn't do this, but my mental health throughout my teen years and up until my mid-20s now, I've always had issues with my mental health, whether that's anxiety, which I have and I've had for like 10 years, or like lows, like depression. I've never been diagnosed with depression, but I know I've had it, and I've had some, just based on like what's happened in my life. And anyway, my daughter has sort of, like, you've got no choice when you've got a child, do you? You've sort of got to like pick yourself up. I'm gonna try not to get emotional in this video because I don't want to cry, but my it's like some days I literally just live for my daughter, and you're not supposed to say that, and I know you're not supposed to believe that or think that, but genuinely some days I feel like I live for my purpose of having my daughter. I know I have other purposes as being a Muslim and like being a believing Muslim, and mental health is one of those things that it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain. But my mental health, alhamdulillah, after that winter period, going into spring, I love spring. Spring's my favourite month. Spring is my favourite season of the year. After like having short days and having longer days, and the trees are growing their leaves back and the plants are growing and everything's just more beautiful. It's still a bit cold and cozy when you get in, but when we were able to go to the park and like she was able to just see what a dog is, my mental health improved so much. Even just going for a short walk, my mental health goes, like, it improves so much. Like my sadness or anxiety or whatever, or guilt of not going out. Because before having a baby, I could easily stay at home. Like COVID wasn't too difficult for me. Do you know what I mean? Mental health is such a loaded question, but alhamdulillah now I'm doing okay. I'm still, because it's winter again, I'm still like, I still have that slump. It kind of feels like how I did last year, like the baby blues. I get sad more during these times, so doing stuff like this sort of kind of helps me, which is why I've sort of like started it up again, because it's something to do. Anyway, next question. How was your breastfeeding journey, if you don't mind sharing? Oh, here we go. Breastfeeding. So breastfeeding happened a little bit. If you watched my birth plan video, you'd know that I really wanted to breastfeed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For me it was a long-term plan, but it ended up not working out long-term. So while I was in hospital, my daughter had formula as well as breast milk, whatever I had, colostrum. Sorry guys, I had to go open the door. So I was on breastfeeding. We got home, I had a low supply of breast milk. Some people have oversupply, I didn't. I take medication. It was suggested that medication could have an effect on the milk supply, and I'm guessing it did in some sort of way. But also we were combination feeding, and I know that I wanted to combination feed and have formula during the night. Guess over time, it took about 2.5 months of us kind of struggling. Whenever I put her on me, she'd latch, she'd sort of pull away and start crying, and she was just hungry. For her it was just faster to get the milk out of a bottle tea. Of course, like it's uncomfortable to breastfeed at the start. I used the Shield so that it could be, I was thinking, my logic was, if I had a Shield on me and it was a bit plasticky and she'd think, oh, it's a bottle tea, I could sort of convince her that while she's breastfeeding it's actually like a bottle, and like try and manipulate that. But that did work, and it actually did help boost my supply a little bit. but ultimately as she's growing there just wasn't enough milk to sustain her, so we just then switched to formula full-time. Alhamdulillah, she's been doing great on formula. I know some people don't like to say breast is best and like fed is best. As a mum who's formula fed her baby up until she was about a year old when we moved on to cow's milk, as a mum who's formula fed her baby, I will still agree that breast is best. Of course fed is best at the end of the day if you want to say it like that, but there's nothing that's going to ever compete to the personalized milk of mother that she literally makes for her baby. Do you know what I mean? But alhamdulillah, changing from breast milk or just solely going on to formula milk hasn't affected her. We use the Kendamil milk. We don't see like she's lost anything from that or she's got any deficit somewhere, so alhamdulillah, she's doing well. The next question, did you suffer from any postnatal depression? No, alhamdulillah. Like I said, I had baby blues, but there was also lots of stuff happening in my personal life at that point after I'd had my daughter, which contributed to like bad mental health, but that wasn't any, I don't think that was anything related to postnatal depression. But I really do pray for those who do go through it, because I understand it can be crippling. Like, I've googled it and I've researched it, and of course I have, because during that time I didn't know if it was baby blues, I didn't know if it was postnatal depression, I didn't know if it was anything to do with pregnancy or hormones or related to anything like that. But I understand like women do have that fear and do have thoughts of running away and believing that they're not going to be the best mother for their baby. And inshallah, I hope anyone who has suffered and is suffering from postnatal depression does find some sort of ease and relief. Okay, next question is, which pads and disposable underwear did you use after birth, and how many do you need in a hospital bag? I use the big pants, you know, the adult nappy pants. I'm not sure of the brand, but it is in my hospital bag video. In terms of pads, you can get any maternity pads from anywhere. I use the Superdrug own brand. I don't think they actually sell them anymore. The Lilettes. I don't know how you say that, but you can get them from Superdrug. But essentially any maternity pads will work fine. You don't necessarily have to get the most expensive ones. As long as they're absorbent and they're like front to back really long, they should help. Top tip that I did this, you basically put on your nappy. You put on your adult nappy that is all cotton lined anyway, and I also then put on a pad. So I had a pad within the cotton nappy itself. It was just like in case there was anything leaking, or just to have the extra absorption. And it really depends how much you bleed as well, because my bleeding didn't last too long. I actually started praying again before the 40-day period was up, because my bleeding had stopped. And so Islamically you're supposed to start praying from when your bleeding has stopped, and if it hadn't stopped after 40 days then you start praying from 40 days anyway, even if you are still bleeding. Disposable underwear, I used the, what are they called? Always Discreet, is it? You know, the black ones with the lady's tummy and legs on the front. And how many do you need in a hospital bag? I would say just take 1 pack of the nappies in a hospital bag and you should be fine. I actually didn't end up opening any of them because, like I was saying, I was basically paralysed in bed the whole time. Next question. Did you feel insecure about your body after a baby? Did you feel your husband wouldn't find you as attractive? Absolutely, I felt insecure about my body. I mean, who wouldn't feel insecure about their body? Their whole body is just really changed. Interestingly, let's talk about this. Let's talk about body image after pregnancy and weight gain and loose skin and stretch marks. So let's start with stretch marks. I went subhanallah, I went about eight and a half months, maybe 8 months and a week of my pregnancy with no stretch marks. I know I'm susceptible to stretch marks because my weight can fluctuate easily, and as I've grown through puberty I've had stretch marks in various places of my body. But I was wondering whether I'd get stretch marks if and when I was pregnant. Those last couple of weeks, suddenly I've got these red, purple stretch marks, like you can see where the skin's literally torn. And I was like, okay, that's cool. At this point I'm like, I don't care, because I'm creating a human, right? That's ultimately, like, just keep your head on that. Don't keep your head too much on what it's going to look like afterwards, because you're going to look a bit saggy for a while after having your child. Some of you might be lucky and not have to deal with that and go straight back to being flat tummied and 0 stretch marks. Alhamdulillah, that's good for you. But no, that didn't happen with me. Postpartum I realised I had a bit of loose skin, and I've not really ever had loose skin before, though my weight's fluctuated. I've always had belly fat, you know, that stubborn lower belly fat. I've always had a little bit of a podge, no matter how slim I am. Unless I exercise, which I don't do, it's not gonna go anywhere. I actually didn't gain weight during my pregnancy. I gained my weight postpartum. But like I was saying, like, it was hard the first few months just being at home. It was dark outside, so you know, I gave myself the excuse of I can eat whatever I want, and you can eat whatever you want. Just, you know, enjoy yourself, have as much food as you want, as long as it's like healthy and balanced. Postpartum, because especially if you're breastfeeding, you need to keep up with your calories. That's me thinking before I had my daughter, I'm gonna lose weight so easily postpartum. I'm gonna be breastfeeding, and you know, apparently breastfeeding you can lose an extra 500 calories per day breastfeeding. That's if breastfeeding works, honey. Obviously there are good things about your body going through pregnancy. Certain parts of your body get bigger, and especially with breastfeeding. But no, mine eventually, because I wasn't breastfeeding, like I sort of just went back to normal. Except I had gained weight obviously, and I had now these new stretch marks. The stretch marks, by the way, they don't look blue and purple forever. They will go back to normal skin colour. You'll be able to see them in certain lights. The loose skin wasn't so bad because it wasn't too much loose skin. But if you Google like a postpartum mum tum, you'll see what a normal one looks like. I think it was about 8 months postpartum where I was like, it was around spring, summertime, I was like, no, I need to start losing weight. And what am I doing to my body? Like, I'm treating myself like a bin, just eating all the treats and the crisps and whatever I wanted. Just, I think in my head it was like, okay, my daughter's not going to have any of this, so I might as well just eat it. Like, none of this unhealthy food is going to go towards breast milk, so I might as well just eat it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I gained weight. I think I was making up for all the time that I was nauseous and sick and I didn't eat properly. I want morning sickness, everyday sickness, all day sickness, and nausea and food aversion started at 5 weeks. So I lost like 3 kilos in 2 weeks, something like that. And eventually, as I'm starting to get bigger, my daughter's growing, of course I'm swelling up. I don't know if that's weight gain, don't know if it's just fluid, but yeah, I was really swollen towards the end. But when you've just given birth to a whole life, yes, you're going to feel insecure, but ultimately you're going to have to think about the fact that you've just brought a whole human being out of your body. Like, this person lived in this was their home. Do you know what I mean? It's such an incredible thing that a woman goes through. That's why Jannah is under her feet. So I feel like we should give ourselves a bit of grace when you're postpartum. If you want to lose the weight, you can do it slowly. Like, whenever I've lost weight, it's because I've changed my eating habits, and it's not because I'm exercising per se. Before I was pregnant, I worked full-time, was on my feet working with children the whole day, so I kind of ate whatever I wanted, and I wouldn't gain too much weight because I was more active. Not necessarily doing exercise, but if you're on your feet all day, of course you're going to get your steps, then you're going to lose some weight, or you're going to balance out your weight. But suddenly I stopped working, I'm eating, I'm at home, so not going out, not walking as much. Of course I'm going to be gaining weight, especially if you've got genes that are not skinny genes. Eventually got to 8 months postpartum and I started doing intermittent fasting. I used to do intermittent fasting for a few years before I got pregnant. I used to do 12 to 8, and of course I had to stop intermittent fasting when I was pregnant because I was sick, so I'd eat when I literally could eat. I was never physically sick, but I was just nauseous and had food aversion, so I was basically living off carbs. And yeah, so I started to lose weight through starting intermittent fasting again, but I did the most extreme version of intermittent fasting. I did 1 meal a day. So I would eat within a 1 hour window or a 2 hour window. That sort of just lined up with how my daughter would nap during the day. I would eat during her nap, which was, let's say, my eating window between 1 and 3 p.m. and that's the only thing I would eat during the day. And when I'm telling you, it's not just 1 meal. Like, I just made myself a bunch of stuff. I'd have a salad, I'd have sandwiches, I'd have like 2 bagels, I'd have some chocolate on the side, but I always made sure that I ate the healthy stuff first. And if I had space, then I'd have an ice cream or I'd have some chocolate. I'd never calorie counted, by the way. I was just focused on what foods I was eating, make sure I'd had more fruit and vegetable, and leaving the sugary, like snacky foods to the end. And sometimes I just wouldn't eat the chocolate, I wouldn't eat the crisps because I'm just full up already and they don't have space for it. And all the while I'm drinking water as well. Really, really helped me to lose the pregnancy weight. To a point where now, alhamdulillah, I don't know how I'm doing it because I haven't been following this intermittent fasting, like 1 meal a day, for like the past 4 months really, since we've moved house. I guess my body just got used to it. I don't eat much anyway. I pretty much only eat 1 meal a day, like 1 proper meal, but I'm also like snacking a bit, like having a bit of my daughter's apple if she's not finished it. It's incredible. Like, I've gone back to the weight I was when I first got married, at my thinnest when I got married, so my metabolism was faster, and now that I'm older and I'm in my mid-20s, it's like I can see like my metabolism slowed down a little bit. But just through changing my diet, not exercising, like I've never done HIIT training, I sort of don't like it. If I had to do it, I'll do it. But just through changing my little habits, I've begun to lose weight, and alhamdulillah, like I can feel it. Like, I'm very susceptible to weight gain as well, so I really have to watch what I eat. If I have too many carbs, you know, all bets are off. I think if you just change little habits, you can make them consistent, then you can begin to feel more confident within yourself. Also, you're asking about did I feel insecure about my body? So hair, skin wise, postpartum, no, well, during pregnancy my hair was doing great. My nails were the longest and healthiest they've ever been. Now they're back to being brittle and they break all the time. Oh god, I was insecure postpartum because I had hair loss. Hormones can affect your hair growth, of course, and your nail growth. I had some hair loss and I was extremely insecure about that after having a pregnancy where my hair was like lush and I had so much regrowth where my hair was thinner. But of course, like, all the beauty goes to my daughter, you know. As soon as I give birth to her, she gets all the beauty and I get like the old witch. But yeah, alhamdulillah, I had thinner hair. I wasn't taking care of my skin the way I used to. If you know, I have acne prone skin. Pretty much postpartum, all I did was wash my face with cleanser and then put some cream on. I didn't do any of my serums, I didn't do any of my exfoliating acids or anything like that. And over time I could see how that has affected my skin. It started to build up and it started to not look as smooth as it was before, because I've had a whole long hormonal acne journey. And of course that started to make me feel more insecure and kind of crappy about myself. So eventually, like I said, I started to change little things. I started to, you know, start doing my skincare routine again, not necessarily wearing makeup. I barely wore makeup because I was at home most of the time, and if I went out I just did a little bit. Now I put in more effort, as you can see. I just started to change and tweak little things here and there, and then I started to just gain more confidence within myself again, and knowing that, do you know what, most of all, I'm trying to be healthy for my daughter. I'm trying to be able to keep up with my daughter and be the best mummy that I can be, and I can't be the best mummy that I can be if I'm not loving myself and I'm not taking care of myself. Losing the weight, it was like a happy coincidence, do you know what I mean? Because snacking all the time wasn't healthy for me. I actually had like inflammation in my leg, in my knee, whether that was due to bending down and like changing my daughter, or like being low at my daughter's level a lot, I don't know, or was it due to weight gain? And so when I had started to do my intermittent fasting, you know, of course research shows that intermittent fasting and fasting within Islam has its benefits as well, which is why it's prescribed in Islam, spiritually and physically. Alhamdulillah, like suddenly this inflammation in my knee went away and I was just feeling so much better and lighter on my feet, like metaphorically lighter on my feet, physically, of course, literally. I felt healthier, and that's the main thing for me. Right, that's such a long-winded answer to that question. Did you feel your husband wouldn't find you as attractive? I think as long as I know I'm attractive. No, I'm joking. I have insecurities, of course I have my own insecurities. Like my body, like I was saying, yeah, I'd lost weight to the point where I was about the same weight I was when I first got married. When I was thinner, my metabolism was faster, but my body does not look the same because I've had a baby. My body is never going to look the same again because I've had a baby. So it's just sort of like adapting and working with what you got. And so if my husband found me attractive or not, I mean, but no, I wasn't too worried about him finding me unattractive. Like my face hasn't changed. Do you know what I mean? Change your lifestyle in certain ways, little ways, to make yourself feel better and look better. Once you feel better and you know you look better, then you kind of exude that. And so yeah, I just started to like love myself again, I guess, and like give myself the respect that I needed and deserved. Alhamdulillah, I don't think I was worried about him finding me less attractive. The next question is, have you had another baby? If so, congratulations, mama. I don't know if I've done anything to make anyone think that I've had another baby, but no, I have not had another baby. It's just the three of us, alhamdulillah. So just my daughter. Whenever we are blessed with another baby, then we're blessed with another baby, inshallah. And yeah, that time has not come yet. And my camera light is flashing. I haven't done the anonymous answers yet. Is it, oh, okay, this is a good question. Is it normal to be put off intimacy after childbirth? I think it's absolutely normal to be put off intimacy after childbirth, like especially if you had tearing and you feel stitched up. That's why, like, Islamically we're given that 6-week grace period where we can say no. We can say no anyway, but like you don't have to do anything intimacy wise. But absolutely, I think it's normal to be put off intimacy after childbirth. Your body's sort of gone through a trauma, right? So it's only natural that people may react in that way. You just had this trauma, that's happened. Now let me bring in motherhood, right? Your mind is so occupied, like all your energy is physically going into this child. Mental, physical energy is going into this child and keeping this baby alive, right? So mentally, I think it's so hard to turn off. That intimacy can be hard for some women. I completely understand that. Obviously not going to talk about my personal experience, but I think it's absolutely so normal to be put off intimacy after childbirth. Someone asked, are you a backseat driver? Yes, I still am a backseat driver with my baby, if that's what you're referring to. My daughter gets quite car sick and she can puke up a lot, so I have to always be in the backseat with her. and make sure she's covered with a towel or whatever, make sure she's all right.